Welcome, welcome everybody. I'm Jennifer D. Nicholas. I am the newest NED on the block, and we have decided to come together just to give you a series of recruiting ideas and tips and how to share the business. So hopefully I'm going to give you just a little bit of different inspiration, maybe a little different view than what some of the other NEDs have shared with you on previous calls. But I kind of want to take us back a little bit. Okay. I want you to think about when you first started thinking about selling Pampered Chef. Okay. Was it a year ago? Was it 2 years ago? Was it a month ago? Share in the chat how long ago that you were contemplating selling Pampered Chef. And did you think about it once before and then you didn't go through with it? Or the first time you thought about it, you signed up? Did you think about it multiple times over multiple years? Or did you just say, oh, this was a fun party, let me just do this, right? So I want you to think back. And I want you to think about what intrigued you with this business. I want you to put that in the chat. What interested you? What made you give it a second thought? Okay, and I'm seeing that Lana said she told her consultant no 4 times before she decided to do it. And I will tell you, my personal story is that I was young. I was out on my own, had an apartment with some friends of mine. And one of my roommates did a Pampered Chef show. Well, in my mind, that was for old ladies, right? I was like,
it should work.
So I thought, well, it's in my apartment, so I guess I'll attend. But I only halfway paid attention, and I wasn't looking to buy any kitchen tools, because what 20-year-old wants to buy cooking tools? Well, I was not one of them because I didn't even cook, right? But I remember at that show, there was a drawing slip, and I asked you your interest. And I asked if you were looking for some extra money or if you were looking for some free products. Well, I wasn't necessarily looking for free products then. Again, keep in mind, I didn't cook. I went out to eat. But I was looking for some extra money, because who's not? So I checked that little box. I didn't really know what that meant, but that consultant gave me a packet of information to take home. And I remember I sat that packet of information on my dresser for a long time and intended on looking through it. And that consultant even called me a couple days later, and I was like, no, I must have been mistaken. I'm not really interested. So I don't even know where that packet ended up. Never really looked through it. Never gave it another thought. Fast forward a couple years, and I was married and had a 1-year-old at home and was invited to another Pampered Chef show. The only reason I went to that Pampered Chef show is because they said I didn't have to bring my husband or my kid, and they were going to feed me. So I went to the show to have an afternoon out by myself with no wine, crying from my husband and from the baby, right? So the consultant was talking about the business. I was not a cook. I was not interested in getting a job cooking for people or selling tools. However, she talked about going to Hawaii, and my ears perked up, and I was like, I want to go to Hawaii. And then she had talked about a sales kit. She was like, because she had shown us all this stuff, the round stone that you can't burn your food on. She showed us the knives that cut through butter. And I was like, now, wait a minute. I don't like to cook, but if I have to cook, I need that stuff that you can't burn with, and those handles that don't come off the pans. Like, I need some of that. So she said, oh, you get this sales kit for 99 bucks. And I was like, I like a sale. I want the $99 sale. She said, oh, well, you got to sell Pampered Chef for this. And I was like, well, I don't want to do all this. Well, just try it. All you have to do is try it for a couple shows. I was not about selling anything. I was not about cooking for other people, but I liked the deal. So she had kind of hooked me with a couple things that she had said. And she told me I only had to try it for 30 days.
I thought they only buried their hooves.
Okay. If you all, if you're not muted, if you would please mute, that would be great. So I was the least likely candidate to do this, and I was only going to do it for a very short amount of time and then quit. After I got the kit, I did a couple shows, like I said, I was going to do for 30 days, and then I was going to quit. Had the first consultant never asked me, and I wasn't really interested in, but you hear she was putting that info out there, and she had a questionnaire where she asked me about it, and she had called me back. And that's kind of, going in my brain. It's kind of put back in one of those back compartments, right? And then when I went to that cooking show, I remembered the girl that had asked me before and the things that she had said. And so I signed up to sell Pampered Chef, right? She probably didn't think I could, because I was a young mom that couldn't cook and didn't know anybody. So thinking back to your story, what interested you, right? And somebody saying that, that, you figured you'd try it for 30 days. The discounted and free products kind of hooked you, right? Trying to read through these. So there are other people that are in the same situation you were when you started, right? For my example, maybe they're a young mom that they don't cook. They need some tools in their kitchen. And I was a stay-at-home mom at that point too. So I wasn't necessarily looking to get a job, but it sure would be nice to have some extra money. So throughout the show, the consultant's saying a little bit of this and a little bit of that. She's talking about trips. She's talking about some free products, and none of it really sold me individually, but all the little bits and pieces really came together and made me. And then she laid it out there. Just try it for 30 days. That low commitment of all of these things sound great, and all I have to do is try it for 30 days, right? So then once I decided to try it, then they got me in the trainings. They were dangling all those carrots. And before I knew it, 19 years later, I am a national executive with this company. Did I ever expect that? Did anybody in my family or friends ever expect me to do more than 30 days with this business? No. But it's very important for us to ask everyone, no matter what, because there could be that young wife that doesn't know how to cook. There could be a single parent. There could be somebody that works a 60-hour-a-week job that is looking for a way out, and we don't know their story, right? Did your consultant know your story when you started? Probably not. And then, okay, so we were thinking back to why we started, what intrigued us, and what made us decide to finally sign up. And those may not have been the same. The thing that piqued our interest and made us ask another question may not be the same thing that persuaded us to sign up, right? And the reason that we signed up is probably not the reason we are still selling Pampered Chef today. Anybody with me on that? The reason I signed up is not why I continued selling Pampered Chef. So I want you to put in the chat, why are you continuing to sell Pampered Chef? And is it the same as why you started? So again, we want to think about other people and their scenarios and why Pampered Chef might work for them. And so when I share my story, I kind of have a very common story of a young mother, stay-at-home mom, and we think of direct selling and we think that that's the mold, but it doesn't have to be the mold. So when I share my stories at my parties, I don't only want to share my type of story, because then everybody at the party thinks, well, I'm not a young mother. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. This business isn't for me. So I need to share other people's stories as well. I need to say that my friend Love used to work 60 hours a week as a highway patrol or state trooper, and she's able to now work from home. I need to share about my friend that is a nurse that still continues to be a nurse because she loves her job, but is able to supplement her income with this job when she's working third shift at the hospital, and she can do this during the day. I can tell about my friend who is a male that works for the Ford company, and he fixes cars, but he likes to cook too, right? So I'm telling his story. So we need to make sure that we relate to people with our personal story, but then also sharing other people's stories as well, because the people that are on this call today, I don't know you, I don't know your story, but I feel like if I share all the things Pampered Chef and share my friends' stories, then it can relate to you all too. So you want to keep in mind all the ways Pampered Chef can help. Okay. And so Shelly is sharing that she originally earned for extra money and financial independence. Now it's so much more for trips and more products and helping other people. And so we see that growth in people, that when they get in, their story completely changes. And I always try to think too, it's hard not to prejudge. Anybody think that's really, it's really hard for me. But my consultant very easily could have prejudged me. I was a young girl that did not know how to brown hamburger meat. I'm not kidding you. Like, I could burn cereal. And she offered me a job to go cook for other people. If I was that consultant, I'd have been like, oh Lord, she's going to be a headache. She's going to be more work than I could, deal with. I don't have the patience to try to teach this chick how to use a garlic press, right? But she still offered the business. And she didn't just offer it to me, she offered it to every single person at the show. I was just the person that was in the situation, the right place at the right time. Okay, so we think about our shows now, and that was a cooking show. That was 19 years ago. So now we may still do cooking shows, but the majority were in a virtual world. So how can we switch that over to a virtual world? And how can we meet people and still ask everybody that's in the show? I don't know about y'all. I try to friend request people that are in my show, and I try to really get engaged with them from the beginning of the show. So when they join in the party, I'm sending private messages. Hey, Wendy, thanks so much for joining the show. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Do you cook? Do you not cook? Does your husband cook? Like, tell me, So I'm getting to know her. And then I'm sending Christina a message. Hey, Christina, thanks so much for joining our show. We're going to have so much fun. Hey, Stu. So we're, just building that relationship with them. And then throughout the show, I can send messages. Oh, Wendy, I saw you commented on this chicken bruschetta pasta recipe. Girl, that is my favorite recipe. I make that at least once a week at home. Have you ever tried it before? And then Wendy's coming back. No, I've never tried it. Jennifer, I'm really not a cook. Right. And I'm writing little notes, however you keep up with your customers. So I'm keeping little notes on Wendy. Wendy told me that she does not cook, that her husband normally cooks for her. So I'm writing those notes. And then later she's playing games. And I'm like, Wendy, you really are, you seem to be having fun. Have you ever thought about doing something like this? And Wendy's going to say, Jennifer, I told you I don't cook, right? My husband cooks. And I, then I can relate to my story with her. Well, I didn't cook either, whatever. So maybe I'm talking with Lori, and Lori says, oh my gosh, Jennifer, I have no time to sell Pampered Chef. I work a full-time job. I'm a manager of all these people. I don't even need this any more stress in my life. And guess how I'm going to relate to her? I completely get you, Lori. I love that this job can be so stress-free. This is my fun me time. When I go in and I'm playing in my parties, it is the fun I'm finally having for the day. Right? Because the rest of my life is so stressful, and this gets to be my fun job. But I've already figured that out about Lori, because as we're chatting back and forth at the beginning of the show, she already told me, oh, I'm only going to be able to check in on the show every once in a while because life's crazy. Or, Amanda's telling me that her mother's in the hospital, and so she's her caretaker. And then, of course I can relate to her with that, and kind of how can I identify with her at the beginning, and then later let her know that reason is exactly why she needs to sell Pampered Chef. And you know what I heard before that's one of my favorite sayings is, the reason that people give you that they cannot sell Pampered Chef is the exact reason that they need to. Okay, I get chills when I think of that, because the person that tells me that they are the full caretaker of their parent, of their aging parent, and that they are so stressed out with that and they can't imagine adding anything else to their plate, then I tell them, do you feel like you need a community of people surrounding you that can support you and guide you and make you feel worthy, to make you feel accomplished, to help you have that feeling of joy that you may be lacking? Right? If someone comes to me and they say, I'm not a good salesperson. I tried it before. Nobody wants to buy anything. Then I'm going to acknowledge their concern. I completely understand. I know a lot of people, I've never sold anything else in my life, but I have a lot of people on my team that said they have sold other things and they just did not have the success with it. I completely understand. And I'm sorry you've had that situation. What I have found is that people that come in on our organization find success that they did not find other places. One, because everybody eats. Not everybody wears makeup or burn candles. I'm sorry to say, but everybody puts food in their mouth. And also, we have such a great training program and such a tight-knit community that we try best to help everyone succeed in this business. I would love to show you that you can be successful in direct selling. So I think a lot of times we get in a rut and we know we have to ask. Let me ask. Let me send rockstar message. Let me copy, paste. And I think we lose the heart in it. I think we forget why we really are asking. We're not asking people to sell Pampered Chef to increase our numbers. Okay? We're not asking people to sell Pampered Chef to grow our team. We are not asking people to sell Pampered Chef to increase my pay. We are asking other people to sell Pampered Chef to give them something positive in their life that they may not have somewhere else. We are asking them to sell Pampered Chef to fill a need that they don't know that they need yet. Does anybody on here, when you signed up to sell Pampered Chef, did you expect it to fulfill areas in your life that it has? Wendy's shaking her head no. Wendy's on my team. I know her story. I never in a million years expected Pampered Chef selling pots and pans. I never expected it to give me a sense of self-worth, a sense of community, a overwhelming feeling of helping others accomplish things they never thought they could. And knowing that that can happen, that when you share this business with other people, you can empower them and change the course of their life like you never would have thought. And I have consultants on my team that tell me stories time and time again of how they just got in Pampered Chef for the kid. And then with the money they made, they were able to send their son to science camp. He had been wanting to go for year after year after year, and it was not in their budget to do that. And they finally got to send their son to science camp. A story of one of my consultants. She had been a homemaker for 50 years. She had never worked outside of the house, never done anything but serve her family. And the confidence and the self-fulfillment she gets out of selling Pampered Chef is more than she has ever felt in her life. The story that a friend of mine, I didn't even know her, I asked her to sell Pampered Chef. She had just separated with her husband and was living in a neighborhood that they were terrified for their life. People would drive down the road and they would shoot at their house. They were terrified. It was the only place she could afford to live. And she now, with her Pampered Chef income, doesn't have to live there. She doesn't have to save money to take her daughter to McDonald's, because that's what she would have to do. Her life is completely different. I didn't know her story when I asked her. I didn't know her story, but I asked her because that was my job. And I didn't know, out of all the people I met, I don't know who really needs this, but I have to ask everybody because they don't know if they need it or not, right? Diana had no idea that she needed this business. She was in her mind trying to figure out how in the world she was going to survive in the neighborhood where people drove down shooting every night, right? She didn't know she needed this. I didn't know she needed this, but she gave it a shot and she realized quickly that she can make money at this, right? So all that to be said, we cannot prejudge. We have to ask everyone, give them the information, figure out how Pampered Chef can help them, and make it easy. Make it easy for them to say yes. Okay, I think a lot of times people get in their head and they're like, oh my gosh, well, I just can't, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy, I don't know about computers, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to, okay, let's try it out and see. Let's try it. Let's try it for one show and let's see where it goes. Let's try it for your show. I have this show set up. You're going to be the host, right? We already have it set up for this week. How about I help you? I run it. Let's have fun. Let's see how it goes. You'll make the commission. You'll get the free products. And when your friends book a show, if you like it, if you like the money, if you thought it was fun, if you thought it was easy, I'll get you set up to do their shows and you'll do their shows. Make it easy for them to say yes. Okay. And then once we've done that show, then I'm sharing with them, oh my gosh, Kim, you had $1,000 show. You made $220 in 1 week. And you only spent, how much time do you think you spent this week on it? Right. And they're going to say, oh, I don't know, maybe an hour. So you made $220 in an hour is what you're telling me. Do you make that at your other job? Well, no, but Jennifer, you did half the work. Okay, well, I did half the work. So let's say we were to split that money in half. You made $110 for an hour. Do you make that at your job? Right? Put that out in front of them and make it real and make it easy to say yes. So then after I've told them that's just what they made off of their launch show, I'm going to say, Kim, Wendy and Vicki just booked a show. Everything that we just did, I'm going to teach you how to do. I even have the template that I'm going to share with you. So you'll know how to post it. I'll go through it with you. Why don't you do their shows? And let's see how it goes. Right? Make it easy for them to say yes. So I know that I didn't really give you tangible information to take and go do, but I'm hoping that it really just kind of opened your mind to why you're asking people and how you're asking people and why you continue to ask people, because we never know. Our job is to ask. That's part of our job, just like it is to book shows, just like it is to sell food choppers. That's part of our job. So when you're doing a show, would you ever do a show and not talk about the air fryer? No. Why? One, because it's fabulous. It's a fabulous product. You know, people will buy it outright. You really know people will book shows for it. Maybe you use it every single day. I would never do a show and not tell people. Why would you ever do a show and not share the business? It is the best thing we have to offer. And it could be that It could be that thing that absolutely changes their course of their life. And it may not. It may not. They may get in, they may do it for a little bit. They're like, hey, great, Jennifer, it was fun. It was great. See you later. No big deal. So what? So what if they sign up and they do a show and they quit? It's okay. Make it easy for them to say yes. But you have to ask. So I've also heard too that there is a recruit at every single show, but is there a recruiter? And are you working to find that recruit? And I often have to remind myself, sometimes I only send messages to rock stars in the party. Well, you know what? I was not the rock star in the party. That girl still asked me, right? What if she didn't ask me? She would have missed having a national executive on her team. Right? You don't know who's at your party that needs this business. So we ask everybody. So I'm actually going to give you a challenge. I'm going to challenge you to go into your shows, current, past shows, whatever, and I want you to ask the non-rock stars, the people that maybe didn't comment in the party. Maybe they joined the show, but they didn't say anything. Because maybe they didn't say anything because they would feel bad if they participated in the party because they knew they couldn't afford to buy anything. Maybe they didn't comment in the party because they're a horrible cook and they would be embarrassed to talk about cooking when they didn't know anything about it. They didn't want to ask crazy questions that made people think that, you know, they were ill-equipped. Maybe it's somebody that's in that party that didn't comment because they worked 12 hours during the day and they don't have time to go in and order or to browse or to look or to play along. That doesn't mean they don't need this business just because they didn't comment in the party. So I think we often get in this mindset of only reaching out to the rock stars, of only reaching out to the ones that we think would be good at this. What about the others? What about the Jennifers that can't cook? What about the Love Carpenters that worked 16 hours a day? I challenge you to find the non-rock stars in your party and turn them into consultant rock stars. Does anybody have any questions? Any takeaways? Well, you all are a quiet group. All right, my friends. Well, I'm going to leave you with that little bit of Friday inspiration. And I would love to hear how things go for you. I'd love for us to go recruit a whole bunch of non-rock stars and turn them into rock stars. Make sure you are asking everyone. All right, my friends, if there's no questions, go enjoy your weekend. Oh, you have one, Lori?
Hi.
Hi.
So I do reach out and try and send a message to everybody in the party. And so many people don't reply back. Even if I say in a message, hey, I'm sending a message to everyone, check your PM for blah, 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 whatever. I don't get a lot of people that actually look at their private message. So any suggestions to help get them look at the private message? Because
well, I mean, you know, that's tough if we're working on Facebook because we got to follow Facebook rules and they're changing them all the time. So a couple things that I do, and you may already do these, but I always send a thank you text to people that order. Right. So it's a different kind of communication. So I'm texting people. So that's a different way I can reach out to them. I do send friend requests in all my parties, one to build customer database, just to build a customer base and to open up those lines of communication, right? Because when you're friends with them, Facebook then lets you send messages back and forth. Another thing I do is I put teasers in my party that make people message me.
Mhm.
right? So then they're messaging me. That may be going to my others folder, but I know how to check my others folder. Most people don't. So then they're messaging me first. I'm replying, then it opens that communication. The last thing I do is that I do a daily party prize winner. And let me tell you about this. Some of y'all may know this, but to me, this is like the most brilliant thing since sliced bread. If I have 50 people in my party, 50 people, I have 5 days that I run my party. Do you know I have 10 people that are daily prize winners every single day? So that means all 50 people in that party are a winner one day or another. And when I announce the party winners, I'm tagging 10 people on Monday. You're the party prize winner. Send me a message at my m.me link to redeem your prize. Right. So they're messaging me and then I'm messaging them back. You're a winner of an e-cookbook. How would you like to upgrade your prize? Or did you see our new consultant special? Right. So then that's opening the communication. So everyone, now listen, out of all the days, I'm not getting all 50 people are not replying to me. So what I'm asking my host to do, maybe it's Tuesday, and I'll ask my host, hey, Lori, you know, we had 10 winners yesterday, but a lot of them didn't message me. Will you go in and either tag them or send them a message and say, hey, did you see you were a party winner? Make sure you send Jennifer a message. So then I'm utilizing my host to then reach out to that guest and asking them to come to me.
So you're not actually doing a post for people to answer a question to win a prize. You're just picking 10 people at random or however many and saying, hey, you're our party prize winner today. Message me.
I do both. I do games that ask for, you know, answering the comments. I do some of those because you want to boost your algorithm and you want people commenting and liking and putting gifts and all of that. So I do some of those, but I also do, hey, look at this delicious ravioli lasagna. Who wants this recipe? Message me and I'll send you the recipe. And I am putting recipes in the show too, but my most yummy looking recipes, they have to message me to get to their inbox. So I'm doing things like that on a daily basis to have them message me, but then I also want them playing along in the party. And then another thing that I'm trying to do is that, okay, maybe it's a game like how many beans are in this pot? Message me with your answer. So Kim messages me, oh, there's 32 beans in the pot. I'm going to go back into the game in the comments and I'm going to say, Lori sent me her guest. She's got a ticket into the drawing. Who else wants one? And then Kim's going to message me. There's 80 beans in the pot. And then I'm going to go in the comments and I'm going to say, Kim messaged me her guest for the beans. She gets a ticket into the drawing. Who else? Who else? Kim's the closest. Yep. Oh, Jennifer just messaged me. Oh, she's closer than Kim is. Right. So you're having and then same thing with the recipe. Oh, Christine just asked me, she got this yummy recipe sent to her inbox. So you're having them message you, but you're also putting it out there that other people are doing it. So you're creating that FOMO, right? Where Lori's like, what? Wait, what? Lori just got a recipe. I want a recipe. So it's really just about how can we work with the algorithms that Facebook gives us, because they're going to give us rules. It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out today. They're going to change them tomorrow. But we're playing in their ball field. So we just have to figure out how to play in their ball field. Okay. And one more thing that doesn't have to do with recruiting. I know that stuff may be a struggle recently. We may not be seeing the sales and the bookings and the recruits that we were seeing 6 months ago, a year ago. You all that are on this call, you're going to be the ones that persevere through this because you are the ones that are investing in your business and you all are the ones that are determined to make it through it. Okay. And I will tell you, out of my 19 years with this business, I have seen crazy ups and crazy downs. And when the business, you know, when things were going down, I saw people bailing. They were jumping out of the ship. They're like, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. Well, guess what? all that business came right to those of us that hung it out, that stayed right in there. So you all stick it out. Even though it's a little tough, it may be harder to get the things than you got before. There are a lot of consultants that are jumping ship. Y'all hang on the ship because you're going to get all the fish that are left. Yep. Any other
Jennifer,
questions? Yes.
I just noticed a question in the comment from one person said, how do you recruit when you're struggling with things yourself? I thought you might be able to address that for her.
You know, that's a really good question. And you know, I'm going to be real. I've thought about that too. And I know that we want people to be successful at this. We want to bring people in and we want them to be successful at it. But again, just like I'd mentioned, those of us that are plugging along and continue doing the things, we're the one that's going to make it through this. And I know that there are a bunch of people jumping ship. So there's going to be room for more consultants. Right? So go ahead and bring in those new consultants because I promise you the tides will turn. I promise you. And we may have a stellar October. We may have a phenomenal November. You need to go ahead and have that new manpower for when the tides turn, because they will. And feel confident knowing that people are still buying Pampered Chef. I had a $350 order just come through my website. People are still buying. We just have to make sure they're buying from us. Okay. Any other questions? All right, my friends. Well, I've enjoyed chatting with you and I hope this was helpful. I hope it was inspirational, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.